How's it going, you guys? So, I'm out here drinking some delicious yerba mate and just trying to get the momentum for the day going, really. But real quick, I wanted to make a video addressing Frank Tufano and his recent Valentine's Day stunt, where he basically hired a model from a model hiring website to go on a date with him so that he can prove to people once and for all that he's not homosexual. Now listen, I personally have nothing against homosexuals or bisexuals. In fact, I love bisexual women. And I've had many friends over the years that have been homosexual or lesbians or whatever. And I have a lot to say on that subject, actually. So I have nothing against that. I think if Frank Tufanos is homosexual, which I'm pretty sure he is, there's plenty of evidence out there that shows he probably is. I think he should just straight up let people know. I think that he should just admit it. I think it's very obvious that Frank Tufano deals with a lot of denial, and he cares a lot about his self-image, and he'll stop at nothing to do whatever it takes to defend his self-image to the public, his public image, really. And that's something I've talked a lot about on my channel for a long time, is denial of your true feelings and denial of who you are, or denial of your life situation, and then creating a pseudo self to try to cover up the wounds. And Frank Tufano seems to be suffering from a lot of subconscious pain, and he tries to compensate for that subconscious pain with all of this denial and these crazy publicity stunts and these pleas for attention, like freaking out at people with his paranoia, saying that they're plagiarizing him and all this nonsense. Well, anyway, so here's the thing. When Frank Tufano released his video on Valentine's Day of his date with a girl, and I watched through it, I felt at first like, okay, this is cool. Frank Tufano's going out with a girl, so he might be bisexual. Like it's very obvious that he definitely likes guys. And again, he should stop denying it and just come out, because it's just causing him more rigidity and more stress. I think he's suffering from a lot of health problems just because of his denial, and that is restricting his well, let's just say it's restricting his potential. Anyway, so here's the thing. At first I was like, okay, cool, like he's got a girlfriend, she's good looking, because I think Frank Tufano 100% could definitely pull a girl of that caliber. There's been people who made videos about it saying there's no way Frank Tufano can get a hot girl like that, that he's weird because he eats raw meat and all this stuff. But look, the fact of the matter is, you don't have to be good looking to get a good looking girl, first of all. Second of all, I think Frank Tufano is, I think he's got enough assets, like enough, I think he's a good enough of a guy to be able to attract a hot girl like that. I think he's more than capable. You can, just because he's got a he's got a funny sense of humor, he seems intelligent enough, and you just gotta have good social skills. You gotta have a good understanding of what females want, and that's all it really takes. You don't have to be good looking. You'd have a fucked up face. You have fucked up teeth. You could be fat. You don't have to worry about your looks, first of all. And I don't think Frank Tufano's a bad looking guy. I think, especially with all the cosmetic surgery he's done, but even without it, I never thought he was a bad looking guy. Maybe I'm homosexual. Maybe, right? But what I'm saying here is, I think it's very possible that Frank Tufano could definitely pull a pretty girl like that, even if she was a model and he didn't hire her, okay? You have to be a jealous idiot, okay, to think that Frank Tufano cannot pull a girl like that. Just because he eats raw meat, or he eats, a meat diet, doesn't mean that girls are, in fact, that actually makes you more attracted to the opposite sex, because it's entertaining, and that's what girls ultimately want. They want something that breaks them out of their boring ass routine. That's why girls don't go out with the same nice guy over and over again who just gives her compliments and shit like that. Because she's fucking bored out of her mind, and these nice guys bore the fuck out of her, and she would much rather go out with a fucking guy who eats raw meat out of a fucking jar and has like a channel about the health benefits of eating an all-meat diet, who eats cow brains and cow balls. She would much rather go out with an interesting guy like that, as long as he's not actually like, you know, eating humans or, you know, something like that. But Frank Tufano's a little cream puff, so it kind of complements it, because he is into eating raw meat and crazy shit like that, but he's a cuddly little poodle at the same time. So it makes him even more compelling to the opposite sex. And I mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. Most guys won't know that because they think that girls want a gentleman who pays for all their fucking food and gives them compliments all the time and all that bullshit, and then they wonder why they never are in a fulfilling relationship. Anyway, so he's more than capable of getting a hot girl like that, okay? Absolutely. Which is why at first I didn't doubt it. I was like, okay, this is cool. He's got a girlfriend, right? But then when I saw they were at like this restaurant, right? And this girl claims that she was vegan for her entire life. And Frank Tufano asked her, how long have you been vegan? And she did the sketchiest facial expression. She's like, since I was born, and then giggled, ha ha ha. Look, she's fucking lying, okay? And this is coming from somebody who's made videos about some of the potential dangers of veganism, and especially the dogma and self-image attachment to veganism. This is somebody who ate a carnivorous diet all through 2019. But this is someone who sees through Frank Tufano's pseudo-self, and that's a fact. That's all there is to it. And somebody who has dated, like, I don't even know how many women at this point. More than enough to see through some shit like that. I've had girls where we go on a date, you know, let's say we go to my mom's house or something, and I tell her, like, look, now if my mom asks, tell her that we've been dating for a long time, right? We go to my mom's house, and my mom asks, so how long have you been dating? And the girl's like, since 5 months ago. The exact same kind of like spontaneous lie vibe that the girls would use on my dates was what Frank Tufano's date was giving. Basically, it was obvious she lied in that moment, that she has not been vegan since birth. You gotta be super gullible. You gotta be just pretty damn gullible. Somebody who, like, I feel sorry for anybody who watched that and didn't catch that. First of all, because they probably get lied to on a regular basis, and it's probably too easy for people to manipulate those types of people. Very obvious she was lying, and she's not been vegan from birth. That's the first thing. Second of all, she said she was vegan from birth, and the restaurant that they were going to, this girl said she's been to that restaurant numerous times before. When you look on their fucking menu, there's nothing that's vegan. So why, first of all, and it's expensive as hell, so why the fuck would a girl who's been vegan for her entire life go to a restaurant that has nothing vegan on the restaurant and pay a shit ton of money for food that's not even vegan? And then, you know, she said that she's going to eat fish for the first time just because she's on a date with Frank Tufano. That doesn't make any fucking sense at all. And then when Frank asks, you know, like, why are you vegan or whatever, she said, I was vegan just because I never felt like eating meat or dairy or eggs. I just never felt like eating meat, so I just was vegan. I was never a crazy ethical vegan. I just didn't feel like eating animal products. That's why I'm vegan. Said no fucking vegan, especially lifetime vegan, ever. Who the fuck becomes vegan just because they didn't feel like eating meat, dairy, and eggs? What the fuck, man? Like, come on. Frank Tufano's done a lot of crazy fucking shit to protect his public image, but this one's crazy enough. The craziest thing about this is all the people who fucking believe him and follow along with it. Like, I don't know if this is like tribalism at its finest. Like, people just love their guru so much that they just will deny any factual evidence right in front of them. Any obvious negatives of their guru, they just can't like snap out of it. Like Frank Tufano, who knows? What does Frank Tufano have to do to get his followers to freak out and like realize he's a sham? I don't know. But this was pretty obvious. To make it even worse, there's been people who've made videos about this subject, actually doing reverse image searches on his video thumbnail, and then finding the same girl on a model website where basically you pay for dates and stuff like that. And Frank Tufano nowhere in the video mentioned that she was a model. Probably because he knew that if he mentioned that the girl was a model, then people would look her up and find her profile and realize that he paid for this date, right? He paid for this whole publicity stunt. Now again, I don't think at all that Frank Tufano would have to pay a good-looking girl to be on a date with him. Frank Tufano is perfectly capable of, picking up a girl like that and taking her on a date, especially to a nice restaurant like that. And it's just a date. It's not like an escort service. Like, sex is different. But taking a girl on a date, you don't have to be any special kind of way. A date is a time for the girl to get to know you and you to get to know the girl. You two are going on a date to assess each other's needs, and if each other are compatible with your value system and compatible with each other's needs. It's like a job interview. It's not a commitment. So for someone to say that Frank Tufano would have to pay a girl to go on a date with him is retarded. But at the same time, it's pretty obvious that this was a fake fucking facade. Absolutely. I think that, there's other people who made videos showing the evidence in a very accurate fashion. So if you really are interested and you don't believe me and you're freaking out, like most of his fans leave comments, calling me names, telling me I'm bald, all this stupid ass shit that I don't care about, go and look for yourself. I'm sure if you found this video and you watched this far, you'll probably go and invest even more time watching videos on other people's channels about this. So find the evidence for yourself. Beyond that, the question is, why would Frank Tufano do such a stupid thing? It's because he's gay, and for some reason he doesn't want for the public to know. And it's stupid because he's actually been featured in multiple homosexual erotic films, some of which you could find the clips on YouTube. So he's been featured in multiple homoerotic films. It's pretty obvious because of that. And then, of course, he does a lot of really good homosexual impressions on his YouTube channel of vegans dressing up as a girl, acting like extremely feminine, really, really good at that. On top of that, when he's asked and questioned about his sexuality, he freaks out. Look, when people ask me about being bald, I don't fucking care. I don't freak out. I might respond with a logical comment like, you probably care more about me being bald than I do. I'm more concerned about the fact that other people care about me being bald and think it's an insult. That's what fascinates me, is that people actually think it's insulting to call me bald. Yeah, I'm fucking bald. It's obvious, right? But with Frank Tufano, it's like people ask him if he's gay, telling him to come out of the closet, and then he freaks out and he's like, look, if you guys, care about gay people so much, you shouldn't care, people like you are the scum of the earth and blah, blah, blah. It's like, wow, if you weren't gay, you probably wouldn't care that much, right? It's like somebody who calls me someone who says I'm obese, right? Like, I'm obviously not obese. I'm a beast, but I'm not obese. I'm not going to freak out at them. I'm probably going to ignore the comment, if anything. So he has a very strong emotional trigger response because he just can't stand the thought that people think he's gay. Like, he doesn't want the public to think he's gay, so he freaks out about it. He tries to deny it. He makes videos. He makes videos trying to defend his public image, going so far as to pay a model to go on a date with him to prove that he's not gay. The only people who fall for Frank's bullshit are his crazy ass followers. And admittedly, I followed him for a number of months, for a long time actually, since he started his YouTube channel. And I've also been one to eat raw meat and try these things. But I think that there's a different subset of people that follow these kind of extreme diets, right? Coming from somebody who followed it for all of 2019. I think there's people who are open-minded and realize that the status quo in the mainstream health paradigm, they realize that it's not accurate. It's usually there's a lot of flaws in the mainstream thinking. Almost always the mainstream ideas are either wrong or are not completely true. But then there's another subset of people who are just extreme people and they follow whatever extreme trend is going on. Like, I think that there's people out there who might question whether the earth is round or flat, which personally I don't care. But there's people who are just skeptical, right? They're true skeptics, and they realize that science has been wrong many times before. Mainstream advice has been wrong many times before. And so it could be wrong again. But then there's people who are just like, the earth is fucking flat, motherfuckers, freaking out about it. Tinfoil hat, Alex Jones, just full on like conspiracy theorists, alien craziness, which, not saying believing in aliens is crazy, but you get the picture. So there's just crazy extreme people, and then there's logical, rational people who just are extremely skeptical about everything, especially mainstream advice. And so I think Frank Tufano at first had a mixture of both types of followers. I think he had people who were like logical, rational, and realized he had good advice. And they knew that, this is working for many people, so it's logical. But then I think that there's people out there, like these ex-vegans especially, people who were, which I was an ex-vegan by the way, but people who were following the extreme raw fruit diet, like just like fruitarian to the extreme, like full-on vegetable police. And then they saw this like carnivore diet and they're like, oh shit, that's even more extreme, I gotta jump on that. And then they're like, oh, the raw cow brain, testicle, raw meat diet, that's even more enlightening than the raw vegan diet. Like, whoa, shit, fuck raw meat, I'm gonna eat raw bull testicles. And then they follow. So I think that Frank Tufano has a lot more of the crazy extremist, irrational vegans who follow, or not vegans, but the crazy irrational people who just fucking jump on anything. And they believe whatever he says. Like his iron overload video. He's made a lot of like really fucking stupid claims over the last couple years. And he's got a lot of health problems and still doesn't know what's going on with his health. He never got like a iron test to really prove he had high iron. And just claims it's in the liver, it's not in the blood. There's no test for this. Like, great. That's just like people who believe in God, which, that's fine. People who believe in God, and you can't prove whether God exists or not. You just have to have faith. Like, when it comes to your health, don't fucking put faith in people like Frank Tufano, where you can't really test their theories, and they're always going back and forth. Just be careful with that. I think the last straw was his workout videos, and I think all of his, like anyone left of the rational people who followed Frank Tufano realized real fast that he's full of shit. After his workout videos, you're like, okay, this guy is fucked up in the head. We've got to leave. After that, anyone who still follows Frank is definitely just a tribalistic, dogmatic, extreme, crazy motherfucker. Leave your question, comments down below. Let me know what you think about this, and I'll talk to you next time.